Hello, GeorgeF551 here, and per usual we're going to start in the old mall. As I've said in the previous videos, this food court will be repurposed and become part of REoL Land Amusement Park, and the amusement park is going to expand to where the mall is. Reason being that even with the expansion we put underground, there's just not enough room for everything. We will still have the rabbit's foot and the mutton chops eateries come the 1.8 release, which is supposedly tomorrow as I'm recording on the 1st of September 2014. Rumor mill has it. Anyway, things that have changed, and it's not very noticeable now, but will be, is, in fact you can see it here, as things are dwindling down. I am not restocking for the most part. Like, no one's taken the cats or ocelots. And one of the 3 wolves were taken. Actually, there were 4. Now there's only 2. So I'm not bothering to restock anything. And if it gets really bad, I'll throw in some tide me overs. There's no real change there or there. Of course, the station closed. And I'll just do this again, because people may not have seen it. To the growing pains, this mall will be shutting down in the future, and a much bigger one up the road from Vagabond Apartments. Emerald City Mall. Once complete, there should be a slow migration to the new mall for the court, made for REoL Land's new expansion where this mall sits today. For someone who can't read that well, that's pretty good. And over here in Lester's Pants World, the diamond pants are no longer available, because, like I said, making the slow migration. Sweets shops, nobody wants to eat any of that. Probably afraid Michelle Obama will squash them with their bare hands. And there is noticeable change here in blocks as well. Like, a lot of material is not being replaced. If it gets really, really bad, I will put a little something in. And, of course, I don't know the exact names of some of the things. Still, when 1.8 comes out, the new mall is still not going to be done, so we're going to put new stuff here in the addition. I'm thinking of adding stuff to the basement. I have all that blocked off right now, just for now. And if we go upstairs, yes, if we go upstairs, yeah, we'll take the ladder elevator up, why not? Here we go. So you can kind of see there's some vacant space here that I no longer used to get bricks here. That's gone. So, yeah, that's disappearing. Redstone. The lapis lazuli stand is now gone. So until things really, really get desperate, everything that's like the fences here, never been replaced, not going to. And when the red sand and sandstone materials come along, I am thinking of putting it here in the expansion. There's plenty of room for that. I'm just gonna plop it down on the floor. I might just put a this stuff, bedrock, underneath, just so people don't smash the floors up. Not that it really matters. So, I mean, that's the changes we have here. And, of course, right outside, I decided let's take the long way. Once again, if I knew that the game was adding so much stuff, I would have never have bothered with all this. And there's the new subway system when this mall is gone. This new road into REoL Land, which the gate will be around here somewhere when it's rebuilt. We'll enter. New textures for the baseball stadium. And there's not much difference underground in the other shops, except I took the coming soon signs off some of the storefronts that were going to be coming. So there's been major, and I mean major progress, because I want to get as much of it done as possible before 1.8 come out. So let's go and see the new mall. Alright, we're back at the mall. and I started a little further down the road. I don't think I ever brought this up, but this land used to peak upwards, and there was a bridge up ahead, and that was taken care of to make all this. Wimp jump. That didn't work. That bridge is still there. There was a bridge even higher up where that is, and took that out. Anyway, I have completed. I'll fly. This will be easier to do. I've completed the exterior of the new blocks. As you can see, it's 3 stories and 5 bays. There was one math error. We won't go inside till we show you the interior of the mall, because quite a major change there. It's supposed to be 10 by 10 grid, but I inadvertently went in, let's see, I went 4, 5, yeah, I went 9 horizontally, but still maintained the 10 from front to back. I left it. The only part that's right is the middle, in terms of going from left to right. Not a big deal. Like I said, we'll take a look inside a little later. Anyway, here's the mall itself from the outside. Looks kind of has the emerald motif going. I'm still putting exits into the food, in the back of the food court. That's an exit that hasn't been made yet, and I'm steering away because I don't want you to quite see inside yet, even though you're gonna. And this is one of the finished exits, because there's a corridor underground. So, okay, here's the parking garage. It's still a work in progress. As you can see, we're starting to get a ramp system going. And this is the new subway station. I've shown you that in the previous video. And we have stairs and elevators that go to the top. It's only a 3-story garage. Second story much shorter. Reason being that the first floor is tall. It's to match up with the height of the mall here. As you can kind of see, we've got a segment of the mall that is sort of completed, with the galleria top on it. The gray stone blocks will be replaced with a 1.8 texture. I have not decided which one yet. And I think I might do the same with the columns, the vertical columns that are right there. I was thinking of keeping them the same. And that was actually a failed attempt at a domed roof, but then being Emerald City, and that the emeralds, if you look at them, kind of have a peak with a slightly flat top on them. It kind of looks like the top third of one of the Minecraft emeralds. In fact, I might just flatten the top a little bit so it does reflect more like one. Now, yeah, there is light blue glass. That's more of an aesthetics thing and keeping with the theme. So that's a WIP. And here are the ramps again. Alright, if we go down a level, this would be the walkway into the mall. But before I show you that, this is the completed, although I didn't fill the stands yet, this is the completed Cineplex. I'm going to make that the mall offices, because there's no real room inside the mall itself the way it was designed. So I just kept that boarded shut so people didn't go in there and get themselves killed. So this will be the walkway in. And here are your 4 doors, and we get the reasonable Alpha at the drive-in prices here. I cannot, for the life of me, remember the episode where they went to the drive-in and saw the ridiculous prices for everything. Well. Okay, this is going to be the snack bar at some point. And I'm not sure what I'll do with this area quite yet. But the screens are all done. I have shown you the front ones before, but now we got all 4 of them. They all look like this. They're stutter. They're a little smaller than the previous version, and again you can see the quote-unquote projectors. until they started adding gigantic seats and what have not. There's a entry point there and an entry point over here, which was not really well thought out. So that, you know what, while I'm on camera, let's actually fix that. Okay, I got a problem here. I'm gonna have to do a floaty. See, bottom's also not done either. There. That's a bonus here. You get to see me fix things, because you could not get in there. Well, I can kind of see why I didn't put it there, but whatever. I get a midpoint, and again, this is fake circuitry. It's just to make it look like you got digital media devices here that feed video to the projector. It's very limited looking, but that's the whole point. And I didn't really want to go out this way, but whatever. Alright, and you can see the garage still's got a ways to go. Might hit winter territory. Alright, now for the eye candy. In fact, it's probably best to do this from the lower level. And like I said, to line up the second floor of the mall with the garage, this floor is extra high, is the mall itself, which I have blocked off, but of course we got magic flying powers. We can just zoom right over. This is the Atrium. So you can kind of see here, we've got the lighting set, just waiting for 1.8 textures. We got 2 glass elevators here. Let's take this one down. The gaps you see in the floor, that's a 1.8 thing that we need. Again, the gaps that are in the ceiling for a 1.8 light texture. And this is what the Atrium looks like, complete with the soon-to-be slightly flattened to emerald-shaped light there. You know, it looks better if I just stand in the middle, like so. Then just go up like that. That took a lot of work, guys. Quite a bit. And we got steps from both sides heading down or up, depending on your school of thought. Lag. And again, for 1.8, I only put a half slab here, making a pattern in the floor. This was an attempted light pattern to see how well lighting would work in here, and it does not work too well. It gets too dark right here in the middle. So this whole thing will get scrapped. I'm gonna actually put that within the confines of the ceiling, and we'll have little light posts like maybe there and there in terms of how far from the edge there. It's a work in progress. There's things to figure out, and as you can see, we got quote-unquote escalators or stairs that just go to the next level. The ones that are all boarded shut, or should I say drywalled over, are completed, with the exception of that department store. But just the physical mall itself, again, we're going to replace the stone with a 1.8 texture that I have not yet decided on quite yet. So it has a more emerald look to it. The floor is what it is. That's going to be the way she looks. And on each of the 2 floors there'll be some, you know how they have chairs and sofas that people relax on. That'll be in these 4 corners. And if we just float here, you can kind of appreciate the ceiling a little bit more. And getting ready for the arch over there. This is going to stop where that is, because it's going to be a different arc altogether for the entryway. So that's what we got here. And now, as I kind of promised, as you can see, we got plenty of work to do for the floors. We got blocks. This is the department store right now. It's just, you see, started doing the first floor. It's just lit well enough that we can see what we're doing, but the monsters will still come around and play. And here's an intermediate floor. I think we'll have stairs and elevators just like in the original building. And then the top level here. And to sort of mirror what was in the existing building is, I got this idea from Macy's at the Mall, Whitney Field in Leominster, is the big open windowed area is completely detached from the building itself, sort of. So the second and third floor don't meet up to it. So that's what we got over here. And we zoom on over to the next section. In fact, we'll actually head out because we don't have a way in, really. You got the service corridors, again, more exits for the I was going to say, the 3 department stores, well, the 2 of the 3 department stores are going to require 1.8 textures. It still holds true to an extent, except the exterior of this was going to be something from 1.8, but then I decided to do a Jordan Marsh tribute. Now, granted, the stone texture is a little on the darker side, but repeating a texture we already used on blocks is kind of just a bit much of a redundancy. I want them to look different altogether. And because there's a 1.8 texture I'm going to use for the floors, you can see there's absolutely no floors or ceilings in here quite yet, and I never put in the glass or the treatment that'll be at the top there. So we got this backside, and somebody probably broke through that fence there. There's the back of the theaters, and I added a little something over here. Miniature supermarket called Artie's. And if you live in New England, you know exactly what this is for. What this is. If you're not, which 99% of you aren't, there was a big American history event that occurred here over the summer, and you probably never knew it because you're just not supposed to ever make a CEO look like a good guy. But being that, you know, we don't have a lot of food choices here in Minecraft, the supermarket is rather small. That is on purpose. So, anyway, this is named after what's now the new owner of Market Basket, Arthur T. DeMolis, also known as Artie T. And while I show you what we got here, basically what happened was his cousin Arthur S. didn't like the way that Artie T was running the store, pretty much. And as you can see in here, as much as Minecraft will allow, kind of mimic the actual floor pattern in Market Basket. Anyway, and over there, I'm thinking of shifting things around a little bit. Maybe move this little bump out a little more this way, but this will be the deli. Yeah, I'm thinking this stock room is gonna probably come out to here, and the deli will go out to here or something like that. Anyway, Artie T cares about the people that run or even work at his stores. He gives massive, gives very good pay. Cadillac benefits for a grocery store, profit sharing, and every time the store makes a lot of money, he lowers the prices and still keeps everything running smoothly and expanding. Arthur S. didn't like that, so he and the board fired Artie T. And everybody got pissed. Now this is where the American history comes into play. Because for the first time in recorded American history, it has apparently been proven to be true, is that the employees have walked off the job, and they're not a union job either, and they simply just walked off the job and demanded that Artie would be reinstated as CEO. And Artie S said that they're not going to do it, and if you refuse to go back to work, you're getting fired, which by law he could do. And technically, as unpopular as it is, he was actually right in doing. Although I do not agree with it, but by the law it was right. Anyway, we got the back here that needs to be filled in. I'm not forgetting that part. So people would just simply not show up, and when they did on their own time, they would protest in front of the stores. People that ran the distribution warehouses simply walked off the job, and all the loyal customers literally boycotted and shopped elsewhere. I mean, the place was, all the market baskets were dead. I mean, it was like Grand Central Station before all this stuff happened. So this market basket was bleeding like $16-17 million a day for 35 days. And it was on the brink of disaster. They were going to start closing 90% of the shops. Well, a little less than 90. Only 10 would survive of the 71. So RDS put an offer out for people to buy the chain. Nobody wanted it except for RDT. And they worked around the clock, and there was no perfect Cinderella story, but in the end, he bought the company outright. He only owned 49.5%. RDS had 50.5%. Yeah, that's what it is. So then he owns everything, and in fact, while I'm thinking of it, light blue. Let's make this look more like the Minecraft Emerald minus the color, which I did on purpose, as I said before. Stutter. So everything is almost back the way it is. Everybody's happy. People are working. Yeah, that looks more like the top of a Minecraft Emerald. Like I said, minus the blue color, but that's a motif thing. If the customers they ordered food from are coming back, the place is a madhouse yet again. So basically, customers, distributors, and the employees just simply stopped working for Arthur S. They refused to work for him. And things just got so bad financially that even though RDT didn't get the Cinderella deal, he was able to take the whole thing off his hands, and everything is good again. And that's a historic event, and no one covered it. But that's another story. And thanks for listening to that little bit of history lesson here. And I'm going to end with a sky view of the mall. And a slightly covered, well, the clouds are covering it anyway, but there's RDTs in the lower right. So that's why that's there, and for what it is, and obviously because Market Basket is a huge marquee in Minecraft, no way. It's just easier to put RDTs there. So anyway, a little bit of history and what's going on here at the mall. And as you can see, it's practically, in a sense, it almost looks like it's all there and ready to go. But as you can see, there's a lot of land filling to do. So, I mean, there's still quite a bit of work. And like I said, the old mall, if things get really, really low, I might just throw some extra stock out there just to keep people coming. But that's slowly being shut down, and this is the update. And once again, thanks for putting up with the little history lesson that never really made it to national news, except maybe a blurb here and there. And that's what we got. And hopefully next time we'll have at least the buildings for the most part finished, but still got to work on the land. George F551 saying, hope you enjoyed, even through that diatribe, and have a good one.